Welcome to another episode of Frugal Finance. Today we're going to look at how you credit money and buy a share using Trading 212. So I've got an awful lot of requests from people about how you actually manage and use this account once you've got it set up. So first of all, get yourself a cup of coffee. Secondly, download the app, get ready. Now let's get stuck in and watch the rest of the video. So everybody, we'll just jump straight into it. So this is a little video on how you can use your Trading 212 portfolio. So I'm just going to give you a step-by-step guide. So I will assume that you have already set up an account and got it all credited with some money. So the first thing is obviously you need to go in and sign up, so download the app and various things. So we'll assume people can do that of their own accord. So then what you need to do is go into these three little lines down in the bottom right hand corner here, and then you click the deposit funds. There are several options, so you can pay from your bank, so you can instantly transfer, you can pay via credit card, or you can pay via Apple Pay. Now credit debit cards, they do have a cap on how much you can pay because there's a processing fee, so you can do £2,000 in total over the lifetime of your card, of your account. After that there's a 0.7% fee. It doesn't actually state as to whether that's credit and debit cards, but I will assume that is both because it is not specifically listed. It says following payments are free, so I'm assuming everything underneath that particular bit. So after that, obviously you need to actually transfer the money to them. So we'll use Apple Pay to give you an example here. So you just literally click on the payment method that you want. So in this case we'll have Apple Pay, and then you can select the amount. So you just literally slide this bar up and down to whatever it is you want. So if we go down to £25 just for an example here, so we're using at the top here we're using Apple Pay to pay into my Trading 212 ISA. Obviously you can click change if you have a normal account which isn't an ISA, or if you've got one of their other styles, but we're putting it into the ISA here. So we don't want it to be a reoccurring charge, so that would be something, say like on the first of the month you might want to deposit £50, but this is obviously going to be a one-off, so you just press next, and then obviously here we are, you just make the payment. And that's it, done, paid. So now we have, if you go to this down the bottom here, where you got this kind of pie chart looking symbol on the at the bottom of the screen there, you'll see that we're now into my portfolio. So if we click right at the top here, where we've got the total figure 68301, that is the total amount of money that is invested and held as cash, and you'll see we click on that and it brings up the free funds and then the portfolio funds. So £25 and 7p, because I already had 7p in there, is available for us to deposit or spend into shares. So the next thing you need to do is obviously decide what shares you're going to buy. So you can buy fractional shares or full shares. The way you do that is say like Netflix, for example. If you wanted to buy a small share in Netflix, you could spend just say a little bit of money on that. So say you wanted to spend a tenner on Netflix out of that £25, or even just a fiver. You just slide this up, and that 0.02 is the percentage of the share that you're buying. So obviously the closer you get up there's to one share, and then down, and then it gives you the monetary value when you stop. There are some companies which you can't buy fractional shares for, and there are also things like ETFs. So if you go along the top here, if you go to the home screen, and then scroll along the top, you'll see that there is a section called ETFs. Now what these are groups of funds, so like the S&P 500, the FTSE 100, that sort of thing. They are groups of 500 or 100 most profitable, biggest companies in the United Kingdom or the USA. So S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in America, and the advantage of buying a share in them, or this ETF, is that you're spreading your £53.28 across 500 companies. So if one of them went bust, what would happen is the 501st company would take their place. So it's far less risky, but obviously the profits are not as favourable potentially as getting if you invest in directly into a company. You can see if you go to the 1 year profit, it's up 13%, which is a pretty healthy return. But if you then go to say something like Tesla, you'll see their 1 year profit is up 791%. Obviously they're a bit of an extreme case, but it is what it is with them. That's obviously a pretty good thing, and they're obviously heading towards possibly $1,000 a share. Today's news of Elon Musk becoming the richest person in the world has probably helped that a bit. So how do you actually buy a share? So first of all, you can either buy existing shares through your portfolio that you've already purchased, or you can search for them. So if you wanted to buy, say, in Mercedes, so you would just type in Mercedes and it would search. Obviously they're part of the Daimler group, so here we are, and then you would buy a share in them, whether you buy fractional or whatever. Obviously down here, as you scroll down, it gives you more information about the company. So any dividend yield, price to earnings ratio, market cap, and various other bits of information. Financial summary is down here, and then obviously you've got things like revenue, net income, total assets, total liabilities, and the difference between those, cash flow, and then obviously history and various other things. Obviously there's no data on history with Mercedes for whatever reason. So that's obviously how you can find them. They do also have a useful thing about whether you can go for most popular, dividend, growth, high volatility, low volatility, speculative, that sort of thing. But yeah, out of all of them, obviously you can search around. Not every stock and share is available on Freetrade, but the lion's share of them are available, and especially for beginner investors or intermediate ones, the platform is pretty extensive. So with that said, let's buy a share. So in order to buy a share, first of all, you might want to look at your own portfolio, or perhaps you want to look at a new share in something. So if we say ANC Investments, AGNC Investments even, so if I wanted to buy a share in there, so I would just do buy more, and then literally slide this across so we get to the one, as in one share. So that's going to cost me £11.44. So I'm going to review that order, and that is literally a share bought in AGNC, which is a real estate company in America. Now let's say I wanted to buy a share or some shares in Cineworld Group. So I'll go buy, and they're trading at 69p per share. So if I say I wanted to buy, 8 shares in them, that would be £5.58. So review order, and you'll see here, because it's a UK stock, there's a small amount of stamp duty of 0.3p to pay. That is something that the government apply to it. You'll see here it's just flashed up to say that to buy one AGNC Investments at £15.20, that has been executed. That is because the American market is open right now, whereas this Cineworld one, that would not go through until Monday. So I'm not going to purchase it now, but that gives you an example of that. So I hope that gives you a good idea of how to invest money. And what you can do obviously is switch between your various ISA and normal trading. So you just click up on the ISA symbol on the top left hand corner here, and then you can go between the 2 or 3 accounts depending on what you got. So for example here I've got some stocks in Neo, which is a sort of Chinese Tesla, and they basically don't meet the criteria for being in the ISA stock allowance, so you have to buy them outside. That means that you will have to pay tax on any profits. So this £9.76p return that you see here, if I was to cash that in, I would have to pay tax on that. Obviously there is a small tax-free allowance on these things, but it's essentially capital gains tax. So you can see, it's been a relatively steady growth for this particular stock. Anyway, I hope that helps you with some ideas about how you can open and credit and then buy shares through Freetrade. Obviously, as I always say, this is for educational purposes and entertainment value only. If you need some formal financial advice, you should seek independent advice. These videos really are for entertainment purposes only. They don't constitute any sort of advice on how you should invest or spend your money. And with that said, if you would like a free share in Freetrade, then basically, Trading One, not Freetrade, that's the other app, Trading 212, this particular one. If you'd like a free share in there, basically if you go to the description below, there is a link to my account, and what happens is you basically click on this link here that's in the description, and then when you set up an account and you credit it with some money and then you invest that money, you receive a free share. I then get the same share pretty much, and that can be valued up to £100. So it's well worth doing if you're going to set up an account, because you get a free share. It's, generally speaking, I'm getting between sort of £8 and £15. So yeah. Hopefully that's useful to you. If you could like the video, subscribe below, and share and comment, and it really does help get the videos and the channel out to more people, a wider audience and so on. And then engagement is key with YouTube. So yeah, with that said, I wish you a happy day and happy investing. Cheers.